Smooth like butter. Smooth like butter.
All right, well, you guys, Ben, I'm picking up a lot. I'm picking up me talking from here on your guys' mics. Is everyone silenced?
Always am. Always on Do Not Disturb, Jim.
I noticed that. Delivered quietly.
How about now, Jim?
Check. Yeah, you're good.
21.
Can you do something for
All right,
me?
so intro, and we'll just see what happens.
All right, what's the format we want to do? I still don't know what we were talking. Okay,
It's just episode number 50, so I don't know. We can talk about how the podcast got started. We can talk about
The idea behind the
why it got
podcast.
started. Talk about guests we've had on.
I'm gonna throw some serious curveballs.
Yeah.
Payoff pitch. Strike three call. Got him with a curveball.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's hit it.
And I'm over here, so
Are you mic'd up?
I'm mic'd up.
Oh, all right, okay. He's on the ones and twos. We could get a camera on you. We have
I
the
haven't shaved in a couple days.
we have the
It's all,
possibilities.
it's all good.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Delivering More. We have a massive show today. It is episode number 50. Woo! Number 50 in the building, folks. We appreciate consuming the content morning, afternoon, and evening. As always, I'm your host, Ben Alkire. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below. That will help us out more than you could ever know. Aaron, we're back in the building. We got the new backdrop.
We did. I'm in a little bit of a mood today, though, Ben.
A mood?
A little bit of one.
A bad mood.
Not bad, just a little annoyed. This drive from Cleveland to Canton is killing me, man.
Oh, my gosh.
It's killing me, Jim.
Well, so, I mean, what, you're 2 months off getting pulled over with a suspended license?
Yeah. Yep. More of the story is pay your traffic tickets in different states. The reason why my license got suspended was because of that.
In Florida?
I was driving my mom back to her, I was going from Savannah to her home in Florida, got pulled over in a speed trap. I tried to escape paying.
Just didn't think you needed to pay it.
And, Ohio and Florida is reciprocal. So long story short, pay your speeding tickets, guys.
Just pay them.
Even if you're in different states, just pay your speeding tickets.
Well, I will compound on your frustration with traffic because right now, Jim will maybe have something to add to this. Fulton is getting repaved. So all of Fulton has been
5 lanes.
Been down from 5 lanes to 2 lanes for the past week and a half.
For the listeners, Fulton is the main road.
Yeah, it literally goes from one side of town to the complete opposite. I think it goes outside of Canton as well. It's been a battle. I came off of, what is this, Whipple, took a right. Mm-hmm. I literally U-turned and just went down the other road because I was like, can't happen.
You don't even know what bad traffic's like until you come into my hood, all right?
It's bad coming south?
Dude, where I live, man, it is where I live in the east side suburb of Cleveland, right? There is, you can confirm this with John, even probably Google Maps can confirm this for you. There is more traffic in the area that I live than downtown Cleveland or going into the city or out of the city. Not saying Cleveland's just this mecca of a city, because it's not, right?
The mecca.
Yeah, but it's just where I live is so congested. People live, they drive everywhere, feels like. You can't get to the highway. It takes 20 minutes to get to the highway. I mean, to go from my house today to the office was an hour and 15 minutes. It's 50.
And what is it typically?
It's like 48 miles.
Yeah, it's like 50-ish miles. Jim, typically, on a good day, I can get down here in 45, 50 minutes, But
nice half-hour delay there.
I've had it to be as long as, an hour 20, hour 30. Today was just brutal, man. There was no accidents, but just like, dude, the traffic is just packed.
Where I would think it's usually busy going north to Cleveland because people like work downtown.
You gotta think people where I live. Also, the way that I have to take the highway from where I live, it goes to 480. So obviously, people going into the city or the west side from east side.
Okay.
And then also people going to Akron.
Yeah, going to Fairlawn.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit of a mood. That's all.
Let's loosen it up.
I know.
Let's
I know,
loosen
I know,
it
I'm here.
up.
I'm ready.
Let's loosen it up.
I'm ready to go.
This is a big one.
I know. 50, man. 5-0.
The big
5-0.
I realistically, in my head last night, I said I was gonna like go to a party store and buy like poppers and streamers.
I had some.
And I completely woke up this morning. We had to steam the background this morning, so I had to get it.
I was gonna ask you guys like what's up with all the the wrinkles here.
Yeah,
wrinkles
well,
there.
if you notice, they're kind of out of the middle. The sides are still pretty bad because I just tried to get where the camera's going to focus on.
Yeah, does everyone know what this is? Like where this came from?
Yeah, well, the episode came out. It's just the food on demand background.
Yeah,
we got it shipped back.
We somehow got it back here.
Yeah, it came back nice and pristine, great condition. Appreciate the.
We got this back along with our pallet of waters, I would assume, and other assorted goods.
Like we got a solid 120 water bottles back, probably way more than that. I don't even know.
Actually,
that was a good time though.
But Ben, people aren't here to listen to us talk about traffic.
They
want to know about
looking for my chapstick. You know that movie? There's a Ford Maverick.
You gotta clip that one out.
Yeah,
that's bad. That's bad.
Malibu's Most Wanted. You guys don't know that movie?
I got Gamecast.
Sega Dreamcast.
Well, there's game food and then there's Dreamcast. What you thought?
I got Gamecast. No, but anyway, people aren't here to hear us mumble and just go back and forth. They want to know about the DeliveringMore podcast, and with it being the 50th episode, right? My thing here is we should probably give people an in-depth view on how this podcast started, or the content in general started. Maybe a little bit of background about you, Ben, here at DeliverThat. Jim, you've had your hand in just about everything we've done here as well. Talking a little bit more about from your guys' vantage point. I would love to get into the nitty-gritty parts of that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of right on the number. I would say month-wise, maybe July. I think when we actually started, or maybe had like the first discussions.
Conceptualized,
of the podcast in general. It's probably in that meeting room on the other side. It's probably June or July 2021, I think.
Yeah, so we started working on this. November of 2020.
I'm trying to think.
I know we had. Remember for those of you guys that didn't know, we've been doing the content, the podcast stuff. I want to say for about a little over 2 years.
The first release was January 2021.
Yeah, but we had been filming, I want to say, since August.
Okay, yeah. So I need to take it back. So it's actually 3 years ago when we started talking about 2020, June or July 2020.
And just you guys, so listeners out there,
it's been a few iterations.
Yeah. So when we first got going here with this, we didn't know what it was going to turn into, right?
Yeah, no idea.
I didn't have the time to put a lot of effort into this. I know you didn't. You were still dispatching at the time, I believe so, managing accounts. Jim being our brand manager, overseeing e-commerce, the driver store. Like, it's just more things we just did. We just wanted to do this for the drivers, right? This was supposed to be a podcast specifically for it still kind of is.
Yeah.
But just talk about, man, the first, I would say 2 or 3 months of all the episodes you guys recorded, and then we just go on.
See you later. Yeah, they're in there somewhere. I don't know. So initially, if you've been with us since that beginning period, obviously it was me and Tristan. Tristan was just beginning his realm into the coding world, I would probably say.
Yeah,
around then.
Yeah, Tristan wasn't some background too. So Tristan was his original. He was in my seat right now.
Yeah,
and he's not a subject matter expert in the food service industry. But what Tristan is, though, is Tristan is a hell of a developer for us now. The kid worked 50 hours a week as a dispatcher, went to night school, has a kid as well. Still got to the point where he can, he is a legitimate software engineer now.
Yeah,
for our company.
Yeah, he turned that around.
I mean, to say that, the respect that I have for him as a person, and you as well, you guys work your asses off, and you guys get whatever, you guys are seeing the fruits of your labor now, which is awesome, right? It's for me, from my perspective, that's what this is all about, right? It's people taking advantage of the opportunities.
Yeah, I think you touched on him not being a SME, as we've kind of referred to as of recently, but I think that was what initially the issue with the show was, right? Because it was me and Tristan. We kind of delved out the episodes into like subject matters, like we're saying. So it'd be like packaging for a restaurant, for catering delivery. We talked about how you can submit your deliveries earlier to us or better, how you can navigate situations with the customers, and it was all these things that Tristan and I had been in dispatch for the past, I think I had been there for 4 years, Tristan maybe 2 or 3. So our knowledge base was heavy logistics, heavy driver focused, and we wanted to talk about that, but we also wanted to get a larger audience to like the restaurants, the C-suite employees, things like that. And I think what ended up happening was basically me and Tristan would come on here and just kind of like ramble about what we thought
Jim,
people wanted to hear
can you
about.
confirm that or not?
Facts.
Yeah, so I think
Rambling is used lightly.
yeah, so and we just didn't have any direction for what we wanted to do or what we wanted to talk about. We just knew we wanted to create something. So as bad as the initial product was, I think it at least got our foot in the door. I mean, Tristan ordered the mixer, I think. I know.
Yeah, because Tristan did he had done some podcast stuff before, right?
On the side, yeah, a little bit himself.
Tristan's like a Swiss Army knife in a way. He's got his hands in a lot of things, or he has. Farming in Hawaii for a couple years.
Hawaii, that was wild. yeah, the dreadlocks. We can throw that infamous picture back up. I'll have to dig it out of my archive and throw that picture up with him in the dreads and his kid. And then where I think the turning point for me was we had a meeting in that room over there in like the main conference room, and I wouldn't say like pissed off. I was almost like upset to begin with. I think it was like you, me, Darian, maybe Tristan, maybe Jim or something like that. And we basically...
I wasn't... Dude,
were you not there?
I wasn't in that, no.
Okay, so maybe it was just like us three and Darian or something.
I actually didn't really have much to do with the podcast whatsoever when it first started.
Yeah, I don't recall who it was, but basically we had the conversation we're having now, and we were basically like, yo, we love what you're doing, but like what you're doing is trash. Like it's just like, hey... Like we love the idea, we want to keep building on it, but like what we were doing right now, like no one's gonna watch it, no one's gonna care about it.
And that was what 2-3 months in, you think?
We had probably recording. We recorded like 5 or 6 episodes.
So that's
we
at least
pretty deep.
That's at least two months in.
Yeah. We had done a handful of episodes. We were pretty deep. Had kind of gotten like a rhythm to what we're doing, where we were feeling a little bit better about it. And then I felt like got the rug pulled out from us a little bit. And I think my initial fear was what I've kind of conveyed to you a handful of times is I just didn't want this to be like a short-term idea for DeliverThat. Right?
Sure.
In my grand view of things, this is something that's going to be pumped out every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future, right? So in my mind, I was just initially fearful that, hey, we just put in 5 to 6 months of work on this idea. I think it can be really good, whether it is right now or not. And now we're just going to completely like wipe it out and not ever do it again. And I think what I was always very appreciative of you guys, you, Darian, and kind of the crew there, was that you guys had the same vision where this is like a long-term play,
sure.
Right? Like we're not focused on like the viewership really. We're not so focused on the numbers. We're just kind of focused on getting the consistent product consistently every, week over week, 2 weeks over. It used to be every week.
Yeah, and I think what this is, I mean, we've talked about this at length. You and I are pretty much, in lockstep with this. The DeliveringMore podcast in general is going to spin off into different, different sort of shows. I mean, we're talking about 4 or 5 different ones that we're going to start doing. I think that, you got to start. More of the story here for me is like it just can't happen overnight, right? And correct me if I'm wrong here, but though. You agree that was the right move to do what we did.
Yeah, for sure. Looking back on it now, I mean, I basically I think we had that conversation, came in like the next week, recorded a new episode with a guest or something like that. And then I was basically like, okay, like that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I think is basically what happened. So initially I was fairly upset. I remember having a conversation with Darian where I was like, yo, like, what the fuck was that? Like, why did you just like basically try to completely pull this rug out from under us and wipe this idea out? And then like, he was basically like, no, we don't want to wipe it out. We just need to tweak it and make it a little better. And I think the collective as a whole made it a lot better. And that's the product you see today.
Absolutely. And, to see your personal growth as a content creator and podcaster, I mean, dude, it's just, again, it's why I have a lot of respect for you as a person, because you worked your ass off to get here. This was not some job we didn't hire for this, right?
Right.
You had an idea. Sure, you fumbled a little bit here and there in the beginning. Everyone does. I mean, look at when we started this company at OU. It's not the same company 10 years later, is it? It's not even really close.
Not even close.
Fell on my face more times than I can even think. So it's like, but the big thing here, and why this is still going on today and will, indefinitely, is because you made the adjustments, you put the time and effort in, you're bringing the value, people are listening, and whether or not we want to say we look at numbers or not, we do.
Yeah,
and they're and they're going up.
Yeah.
And they're going up significantly. So I'm just excited where this is going to go. But again, I want to talk more about like the journey you particularly have taken it, as well as Jim, as if you ever want to chime in over there. But just like man, how have you switched? Man, you came into this business. We had 5, 6 employees, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so the people that were here that are still here when I got hired, there's you, John D, Chilty, Jim. I think are the only 5 that are still here. There were Gindy. We had hired Blake. We had hired that woman who came in for like a day.
Oh, she did not like
Yeah,
us.
she quit like the next day. I forget what happened.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
This life ain't for everybody, Jim.
We were 100% under 10 employees at the time.
Yeah, and you came in dispatching, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we came in. It was. I got hired end of October. Mitch got hired the next week. We were in the office next to Geeson House. So even more of a backstory. Obviously, we had all grown up together. I had moved back to the township, and from January, I was trying to finish my degree at Kent State Stark.
What year is this?
So this was 2017.
Yep.
Yes.
2018, yes. January 2018, I was in my third semester at Kent Stark State. I think I literally have like maybe a semester or 2 to finish college. I just never did it. Sorry, not sorry, but is what it is. January 2018, I started a new semester at Kent Stark State. You guys were back home running whatever was going on at the time. I started I don't remember how we got back in contact, but I remember I went on a ride along with Dave at not Danny Boys, but it was
That sounds right.
Was
it Baja?
It was Baja.
Man,
Baja.
R.I.P. They had some great
it was
pizza.
Baja. It was at Baja, right where Danny Boys is. Did the whole ride along.
I love that place.
And yeah, I just kind of drove for the next 7 or 8 months, and I would like go to class, maybe drive if I didn't have class, and then I'd go to Planet Fitness right over here. And at the time,
was that when you and I were getting after it in the gym?
Maybe, but at the time, the office was in that next to the massage place, right in that.
Okay.
The 2-room
I got you.
office.
Okay. Let me just rewind here. Okay, so this would have been.
It was 2018.
Yeah. So what he's referring to here is we had no office. We had no corporate.
We were rogue.
Exactly. No. Actually, the office was my dad's basement or like the den area, right? It was like a little like personal office. I mean, this was like a 12 by 12 room, and I worked out of there. John worked out of there. Darian worked out of there, and Jim worked out of there. And at the time, what you're referring to is Jim and Darian went to go launch Denver. John and I went to go launch Phoenix. This would have been in June of
2017, right?
2018.
Okay,
2018
June,
because
no,
DCC got involved in May.
Yeah, because I think it was the first place where Daryl had some involvement.
And part of their agreement with us was, hey, we'll get you office space.
Right.
Well, little did I know, he's got a buddy who's a CPA.
Yeah, their office space was a room.
Their office space was a room with a desk in it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So literally, when John and I get back home, we're thinking we're gonna walk into this office, right? I've been to a legit office before in my life. Who hasn't? And I walk into this just one room. It's like DTHQ, baby. So, but yeah, in that little I'll call it like a shopping.
Yeah.
Partly like shopping center area. They had a massage parlor. They had a
shared like the hallway.
Yeah, and just
and the bathroom.
Yeah, can you guys
which became the downfall?
Can someone give the story about why we got complained about?
That would have to be a Jim story, I think.
I have no problem telling this because I'm not on camera and my face isn't shown right now. But basically, the massage parlor complained to the building managers that this office full of 6 guys?
Less than
four.
That.
Four or 5 guys, maybe 6 maximum at a time, were using the restroom too much, and their clients were not pleased with it.
It's basically just
no. So we're not going to give you all the details behind that, but you can put 2 and 2 together. The fragrance wasn't the best part about that.
Yeah, it's bad news.
Yeah, and then so that happened, and then kind of go from there.
So I was going to class, delivering on the side, working out at Planet Fitness, and then after I would work out, I would kind of go over there and just hang out with everyone, right? Because, I mean, you guys are all my friends outside of work anyway, so we'd always mingle or whatever and just kind of hang out. And then I don't really know – this kind of same conversation I've had with maybe, like, Darian as well, where I don't remember how, like, the conversation started, actually. I think maybe one day John
It had to be John.
basically was
Because-
just like, hey,
Yeah.
do you want to try and help dispatch?
For sure.
And I was like, I think at the time I was still in school. I was like, well, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm down to help, see what it is. I came in. By that time, we're at the original office at the Geeson House.
Yeah, we painted the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
the doors like bright like blue like this.
lighter than DT blue. That took a minute too. But when I got
Took a minute.
when I got hired,
Yeah.
it was that office, and all there was like these white fold up tables, and it was just that table in the front left room.
I think
You just walked
yeah.
in, and that was all it was.
This would have been probably August, September.
Yeah, it was
maybe
October
it
2018.
was in the fall,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
towards
maybe,
the
yeah.
winter.
We got in that office probably like September-ish, and then you came in October. Mitch came in October, but yeah, and then we uncovered that office had some mold in it.
Yeah, black
we,
mold.
We moved over to a different office to finished out the holiday season in that office, and then we're now
here, right.
now in the same office we've been in for
Yeah,
almost
since
4 years
2019.
since 2019.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean we've grown into this, but we came in here, we maybe filled in. We have pictures of this.
Yeah.
We had like a tenth of this office.
We should throw
filled.
some.
Well,
I'll,
we didn't
I'll pull some
initially-
pictures up. And I
Initially,
have
we
some.
weren't even renting everything, correct?
No, we weren't. Yeah, we were
We
just
were
just
only
like
renting,
the
one side.
outside
Right,
rooms.
right,
But
right.
now it's like we have this. I think it's
Right.
8,000 square feet now, full.
Yeah.
Our call center's right over there, and it's completely packed today.
Yeah.
I mean, driver relations is over there. We have the
Yeah.
office.
I don't know how we don't pick them up on the mics, to be
Same. I
honest.
mean, it's
Yeah.
it-
Well, we put up these walls a little
I
bit.
mean, it's
you
loud
know.
in here.
It's
Eventually, you're
wild.
gonna have to it's gonna get so big in here. You're gonna have to actually
Mhm.
wall this up.
Double them
Yeah,
up.
double.
Yeah, double wide it.
Yeah, but I mean, so I initially came on as a dispatcher, and then obviously for the next 3-4 years, that kind of just develops into what initially we're taking a handful of deliveries to now we're getting into the thousands of deliveries a day. Now I brought on, it was me and Mitch, and then Tristan comes on, then Leighton comes on, Nate comes on. We have a handful of
And
people.
Nate came on as an intern.
Interns.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Another
did Leighton.
Bobcat.
Leighton started as an intern as
we've
well.
we've had a couple interns that stayed on. I mean,
Mhm.
literally, this is like their career right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Very cool.
talk about like your evolution as a professional. So obviously you really only had a couple other jobs before this, right? A couple maybe fast
Right.
food, courtside pizza.
Yeah.
Maybe you did some stuff with TQL. We don't need to go down that route, but like walk me through the evolution of Ben Alkire from DeliverThat day one to right now, because for me, man, it's like a 180. It's like you have truly developed, you've carved out your path,
Yeah.
and you have this area of expertise now that I feel like no one in this building and people in the industry, they can't touch you right now, man.
Yeah, I obviously appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. I think for me, realistically, and I'll get to this point, is where I am now kind of came out from a point of desperation in all reality, and you'll cater to this as well once I get to that point. But so like I said, I started as a dispatcher. I went through the transition of learning about the company, the ins and the outs, the A to B C's, all that nonsense. And then over the course of the year, I become a manager in the department. It was only a handful of months. I think realistically, what happened for me is as a professional, I just don't manage people very well, or even like want to be managed. I think, and that's like a realization I came through over the course of those years. My patience level, like very transparently, is like minuscule for not only myself in a lot of work situations, outside personal situations, but we're trying to get other people to the point that I am is like very arduous and like grueling for me. But I think initially, and then it became very difficult for me. There were a lot of times where I was having like incidents with drivers, like on the phones, where I felt like I like took this very personally. And like since we were so connected, also close knit within the business, I basically felt like this was my business as well, I think, a lot of times. And so like if a driver would show up late to a delivery, as something as simple as that, or you come in, my days would start at like 6 a.m. and I'd be here till like 4 or 5. I'd wake up and first thing you see is
Chaos.
a breakfast delivery at 6:30 a.m. and the driver's offline and they're unresponsive. And then so you just start your day there, and then things just kind of start to snowball. So then,
For those of you who have not,
it's hard.
it is. It's difficult to say like very very lightly, it's emotionally draining.
Yeah.
I mean, your mental. You got to have very thick skin to be on that hotline and hear some of the stuff that happens. And just be able to just just roll with the punches.
Yeah, just smile and dial.
And if you don't,
take it as it goes.
like me, I'll say this: I do not have a personality to deal with that either. I'm just like Ben. I'm fast. I'm quick. I'm direct. I'm to the you know.
Right.
So it's like I don't have the patience to hear, a 3-minute explanation on why
I just wanna know.
you're 20 minutes late.
Are you going to be there or not?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
But at the same time, I think it's very smart that you not only recognize that, but as a group we decided, hey, probably not the best course of action to keep you in that role.
Right.
Or like I think you probably even pushed that forward like initially.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was getting to. So like, and even more backstory on that. So like Mitch and I, from 2019 through 2020, I mean, we were in this back room. It's basically me, him, Faisal. You remember Faisal?
Oh, yeah.
And
Faisal.
Jason was here for a little while. Patrick, you remember Patrick?
Patrick.
How can you forget?
But I mean, Mitch and I were basically working split shifts, like 7 hours on, take an hour off, 7 hours on again. We were working like 12 to 14-hour days, and like it was. So like you're saying, just to bring up the point, like it's grueling mentally. It's super taxing physically. Like I mean, I'd never eat lunch anyway, so I was probably not eating, not drinking, or anything. So just getting so worn out.
Hey, compare your time of dispatching right then and there, what you just said, to like right now. What is it? Is it easy? Do you think?
I mean, it's so much easier, but in like different ways. Just because as dispatching, like so much is out of your control, right? Like I can't control if that driver is going to show up on time. I can't control if they're going to set up the food. All I can do is react and hope to be proactive in some situations to help things go a little bit better.
Sure.
With this, everything's like I am for sure to a very large aspect of myself like a control freak. So I want everything to go how I want it. I have a vision for it. I want to have all my hands in it. So that aspect of it is much more pleasurable on my end to know that like it goes through me no matter what.
I was looking for an answer about technology, how the things we built to make that job easier.
Oh, well,
like having be able to just when there's a no-show, you can redispatch it.
Well, I took a Mitch sent out a dispatch quiz on Olo deliveries yesterday. I took it and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know.
Well, I'll tell you. So like everything was manual before, right? What these guys did, like you relied on their your senses, your eyes, your ears.
Yeah, we were just scrolling through Vomo.
Yeah,
literally.
yeah. I mean, not only that, but just like other, like the chat inbox, phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. We had to rely on humans to see these different types of
Right.
things that happened. Now it's all programmatically handled. We actually flag these things before they even happen through random algorithms and proprietary technology. I'm not going to get into that, but we have a method to our madness now,
Right.
to where technology has enabled a lot of those grinding tasks,
For sure.
just grinding away. It's now all done by a program.
And I think realistically, if all that had been developed or being developed when I was in dispatch, I'd probably still be in dispatch.
No question. I mean,
Because-
people don't want to get out of dispatch anymore.
Right, because
It's just probably one of the easiest departments in our company now.
we had nothing close to that. It wasn't even in development
No.
when I was still over there. And like you said, so it kind of just came to a head where I think I had asked you probably at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. I'd asked Darian. I was like, hey, like this is so monotonous. I'm coming into work every day, like just waiting to leave. Like I obviously love the company. I love what we're doing. I love everyone here, but I was so just sick of like doing the same thing every single day. And I think I basically just started asking Darren. I was like, yo, like, where can I help? Like, what can I do? I want, we need help. We needed help in dispatch. So I just wasn't just going to leave the
For sure.
department and like back out and make you guys find something. So like it kind of developed into new roles. So I think eventually Darian, maybe this is 2020 around when this starts to happen because we started developing the podcast. But Darian basically said, Jim has a ton on his plate. He's got the e-commerce. He's brand manager. He's got the website. He's got SEO. All this. He's got the bags, all this stuff. So he's like, maybe you can help take a little bit off his plate. And I have absolute zero background in Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Adobe Audition, After Effects, the cloud suites, whatever you want to call it. And I think from there, it was just beneficial for me that Jim was able to like take time and kind of tutor me and teach me the skill set that I didn't have.
Jim,
yeah.
Jim, what was that like teaching Benny from scratch? Was he a quick learner at least?
It was definitely interesting. It was fun because it was almost like me going back to like college and being, re-educated, and it honestly kind of helped me because I was able for me to improve my I'm going to call it like managerial skills, but like how I interpret my brain working to actually it being used on someone else. So Ben picked it up pretty fast. He was also a very independent learner. So if I gave him a problem, at first he was like, Jim, need you. Jim, need you. Jim, need you. And I'm like, dude, YouTube is your best friend.
Yeah.
Like,
use
YouTube to the death of you because you can find anything on it. And he did. And now he's doing tricks on some of these softwares that I don't even know. So, like, now we can bounce different things off of each other and just overall continue to improve. So, it was fun, though, because it was able to – for me to teach someone the skills that I've learned over the years and actually see them now be used on a daily basis. So it was cool. It still is.
But do you have a degree in what you were teaching me to do?
Yeah. I don't have a degree in Spanish. I'll say that. We don't need to get into Spanish.
Oh, here we go.
No hables.
Where the gloves at? Where the gloves at? We need to get this on film.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't know. So I mean, that was, I don't know, around 2020, 2021. And yeah, I think for me, initially, it just came out of a place of, it was sheer desperation. I knew I wanted to be at this company. I knew I loved you guys. I loved what we were doing, but I knew I couldn't stay here if I had to continue doing what I was doing.
I mean, dude, believe me, I get it. It's not for everybody. Like, it was, especially back then. I mean, you had to be a special person to stick it out in that department. I mean, it was tough.
I think that's something that DeliverThat as a company has done so well over the years of improving. It's just like, back in the day, it was like, hey, this is going to suck, but for the success of the company, it's got to happen. Now it's like, hey, we want you to be happy and successful in whatever role we can find for you here at DeliverThat. So that's something that I think we've done a fantastic job as the company has continued to grow and evolve. So
no question. Well, I know we're kind of coming up on time, but I want to get a couple more questions out. Okay.
Sure.
So we have filmed 49. This is the 50th episode.
50.
Are there any guests or segments or episodes that stick out to you right now of like, wow, like that was a really good one, or a topic we covered?
I know that we've said this a handful of times. Maybe Jim and I have said this. I think we mentioned it. Maybe Tristan and I mentioned it. The in-person ones, I think, are like the obvious, like standout ones. Like we did Megan, a Northeast Ohio driver, and Penelope. We did an in-house driver spotlight for them. TJ Shear was obviously you and I. That was in office.
That was a top 5 for me, no question.
Like those ones are clearly maybe not as the product that people watch. It doesn't look or sound that much different, but in real time doing it like you noticeably feel the energy. You feel better about the conversation. Like you walk out, you're like smiling, laughing, high-fiving, hugging. Aside from that being said, I would love to do more in-person stuff. With that being said, I think for me, the most influential conversation I've had so far was with Sean Walchef, Cali Barbecue, and not necessarily the conversation itself, but what's derived to that relationship since. He's someone I look to a lot of how he puts out his content, when he puts it out, how it looks, what he's saying, the format of it, all that good stuff. And then, man, I got to run back like through who we've
tell you
done.
right now, Adam from Kia.
Adam was a super
A
cool
tool.
conversation.
A Tool from Kitchen United.
A Tool was a good one.
Man, Jeff, Alexander, Wes, these have all been phenomenal episodes I've been on. I feel like we've covered such a wide variety of topics, from off-premises to strategy to delivery to ghost kitchen to virtual brands. You guys did.
Yeah. Steph Sollers, I love that. That was me and Darian, but that was a good one.
You've done stuff with Lunchbox and Nabil. I mean, they're taking the industry by storm right now.
You also got drivers, influencers who have been on the podcast.
True,
Those are some good conversations.
That is true. I was a little upset. Hopefully he'll see this. I'm gonna call him out here. Jerome, we were in Chicago. I called you. You didn't call me back. I wanted to do stuff.
Cars
with
and
you.
Cribs.
Cars and Cribs. That was I loved that episode. UDM. He's a great guy to talk to, someone easy to talk to. He's been in the delivery world for so long. So I think, and I'll say this too, maybe like navigating a line here, but it's also, the conversations are much easier when people don't necessarily have like this filter. They're not like catering to a larger corporation. Like they have to get, I have to edit the episode and then I got to send it to them to get cleared by their C-suite team or their marketing team to make sure we can publish it. So for me, I think the reason the TJ episode was so easy and so fun and so light was because we were here and we basically just talked shit for an hour and a half. Like we had.
What a way to sum up that conversation.
I mean, you could say that, but it was also some very insightful topics.
You talk about. I know we were able to go back and forth about golf and college football and like his past, but man, I feel like that was one of the most, to me, impactful episodes because of the topics he covered, from being an operator.
Yeah, and got like real world solutions, like what you could do.
Talking about catering and the opportunity, what it means for an actual brand or even a franchise out there. If you aren't doing catering, you need to, leveraging certain platforms like EasyCater, the marketplace. So, I feel like we've had, you in particular, have navigated these discussions so well. And to say that, we're only 50 episodes in, to me, it's like, what's the next 50, 100, 200 going to look like? I mean, what kind of guest you be bringing on? Tim Cook from Apple, talk about the new glasses.
I was going to bring that up. It's like we've already covered such a wide variety of subjects and people, and like, what's the next iteration? Is it going to be, I don't know, CEOs from these high grossing volume brands? Like, who knows what this is going to take on? So it's exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
And speaking of that, I know we are kind of coming up on time.
Yeah,
I do have a leadership meeting. Jim, we have a leadership meeting we got to get to here in 15. No rush right now. Just saying, we actually do work here, by the way. Okay, occasionally. But we kind of talk about where's it going to go? Like what do you think this is going to turn into, man? Like, do you think this is going to be? Darian always says this, right? Like, how can you leave your mark on this business?
Yeah.
If you were gone tomorrow, like, what can you put your name on here? Like what is DeliveringMore? Is it? I know right now it's a podcast. Is it a brand? Is it a navigational tool to get into a different segments of show? Like where's this gonna go, man?
Yeah, I think so. Initially, and too, I wish I had it's on another notepad somewhere, but initially in like the original conversation when we came up with the name DeliveringMore,
we didn't even get into that, where the name came from.
What was it called? And do we remember what we called it? A couple different things, but I don't necessarily remember.
We'd have to go back and dig, but
go on. I think so. Initially, I wanted DeliveringMore to become what you kind of touched on. It hopefully will become in the future, is like an umbrella of content and a media solution, right? So whether that be presenting long form blogs on someone who's doing great in the catering realm, like Subway or Kava or Lunchbox, that are coming out with these catering specific products. We have the driver spotlights on their DeliveringMore realm. We have the Meet the Teams. We have the podcast itself. So I think for me, I just kind of plan on making it like a whole, just in some form or fashion, a bigger form of media. But for the podcast itself, I just want to present conversations that aren't necessarily happening outside of this platform. And I think where for me that kind of differentiates, and I don't think we necessarily talked about this off air before, but for me, the differentiation of the podcast is not necessarily like what the business conversations are, because there's so many podcasts out here, right? If you want to have a conversation with Jennifer from Subway about Subway and about their catering delivery, I'm sure she's more than happy to come on and talk about it to each and every podcast. But like, what separates those conversations is the conversation about that person themselves, their journey, and what they're doing now within that company.
No question.
And those are the conversations that I'm super excited and focused on having. And that's like what I actually like to do within these realms. Because
get to know the person, right? Get to know why they're doing what they do.
I usually open up with like a first handful of questions, like get to know them, and then we kind of roll it to you, and you present the more like business savvy side of things. So we kind of play an A and B role.
Just so we know, the questions for this or that will be changing. We will be throwing in some new ones because we can't keep doing hot or cold, Ben. All right?
I like that one. Dogs or cats gets people fired up.
We can keep it the way it was. Don't get me wrong, but like, got to give the people what they want, and they
Yeah.
want better this or that questions.
Yeah, well, that was too when Nabil came on at the Food on Demand. I was like, oh, I want to do a this or that, but we already did it, so I need to come. I need to have like a second round of them.
I mean, we have our this or that's, and you have Nabil's, which are like over there. His this or that was like, if you didn't hear that one, go listen to the episode.
Yeah,
it's like the
tough.
first 10 minutes. I wouldn't say it's tough. It's just like polar opposite.
Yeah. Well, or just we can stick people's feet to the fire a little bit more. But excuse me, yeah, I think my vision for the future of Delivering More itself is just to become a media entity. I think for my grand vision of things was always DeliverThat will be the catering delivery company, and Delivering More will be the media arm of DeliverThat. Basically, it is kind of what I would like to bring to fruition.
Clip that right now.
I got some breaking news that just came across
No,
my
you did
phone.
not.
I swear, the PGA and Live are merging.
What?
Yeah,
That's not.
I swear. Look at your phones when we're done recording this. But yeah, I just wanted to break that.
Well, on that note,
I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. God damn it.
all right.
yeah, wrap this. Yeah.
Thanks for just throwing a wrench in the whole situation there, Jim. Jeez. What? Greg Norman gets his way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He
wild.
won.
I don't even continue.
I know. That's why I had to break it.
I got a lot of questions.
I know. It could be an episode.
Yeah.
Dude, we should cover that one.
That could be a good topic.
We should cover that and some other topics with me and John on the golf course.
That was something that I wanted to bring up on the Delivering More podcast. Just talking about where this is going is the food on demand, like kind of like, I don't want to say remote locations, but being out in the field recording. I think that throws a whole different aspect of this podcast versus here in the studio.
I
Gets
mean,
people out
I'm
of
going
their
to pitch you an
comfort zones.
idea, and I swear this is it, Jim. I'm going to pitch him an idea right now, okay? Right on the spot, okay? Mark Cuban style. All right, so listen here. Hear this out, okay?
I'm out.
All right. And I've already pitched you on this, by the way. John and myself covering entrepreneur topics, right?
Yeah.
You know, I've got an infinite amount of stories and wisdom that I've gained in my short tenure of being an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old. Okay, almost over 10 years now I've been an entrepreneur. Hear me out here, right? John and I cover some entrepreneurial principles, okay, in a golf setting. We call it Founders in the Fairway. Come on, Jim.
That is a really good name.
I've got an infinite amount of topics I can cover. I can bring good guests on. I'm sure TJ would love to join us.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about some, because he's also, I wouldn't say he's a founder, he's an entrepreneur.
He's been doing his own content as a
For sure, and that's what I'm kind of getting here. Is like I'm kind of stealing your thunder a little bit, TJ. But Founders in the Fairway, we cover entrepreneurial topics. We bring on other founders, other entrepreneurs, other major stakeholders in businesses, entrepreneurs as well, and like we cover in the setting of golf. And honestly, I just want another excuse to go beat John.
Yeah, no, I'm down.
It
I think
That's what I really want to do.
if you
John, you heard
follow
that.
the podcast realm at all, like Tom Segura, they have Your Mom's House podcast. They also, it's Your Mom's House Studios, where they like house other podcasts. I don't know if you guys know the rapper Danny Brown. He has it's doing very well as of late, but he has a podcast under that studio. So that also is a realm of things where Delivering More, like I said, just becomes like the umbrella, and like you just have concepts to start kind of popping up underneath it. I'm down to navigate anything. I think the golf stuff is super intriguing to me because I almost want to just see how we would be able to produce it. I think is where my brain starts to kind of start going. Is like what camera
Great
angles,
thought process to have.
How do we make the golf shot tracer look as good as it can? How do
Keeping the range up there.
how do we make sure the mics sound good? Like there's so many variables when you take it outside the studio. But like Jim kind of said, I felt like at Food on Demand, we were able to kind of showcase how we can take this product and mobilize it. You know, with the lights, with the mics, with the camera, we kind of showcase
No
that
question.
in real time. So, and bringing it back to kind of what we said about the best episodes, I think have been in person ones. So yeah, I mean, if Delivering More needs to do a roadshow tour, if we want to do I don't want to get these ideas stolen, like you said, but
No.
No.
No, these are ours.
Cut it.
Just cut it right there,
Yeah.
right? But episode 50, I think you gave everybody a pretty good insight about what, the journey of Ben Alkire here, the journey of Delivering More. I know what this is going to turn into. I'm excited. Well, can't say that I'm not excited because I am excited for the next 50, 100, whatever you're doing here, man. I know you're gonna do it well. So
Appreciate it.
hell yeah, man.
All right, we'll close it out. Thank
That's
you, folks.
episode 50.
5-0.
5-0.